To This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, your local experts on all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Listen in as they discuss the current state of the market, the latest trends, and have a little fun while doing it. We do want to say the opinions voiced on this podcast are for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individuals.
All right, y'all, we're back with another week of This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale. Woo! We're here. Let's go, guys.
Yay. Hip, hip, hooray.
Yeah, we got the energy is high.
High energy today.
Is Cammy the Wonder Dog still in here?
No.
No.
Oh,
Okay.
man. I had a guest.
Yeah, she was snuggling up to Bryan.
There she comes. No.
Come on, Cammy.
All right.
Oh, she
There
comes.
is.
Yeah.
There she is. How are we doing?
You know, we're doing okay. I've been a little under the weather.
Yeah. Was it yesterday that I saw you? And you were, the BRAA board meeting. And
Oh,
you,
yeah,
And
I
like you set off
isolated
to the
myself.
side, like you did not want anybody near you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm okay. I don't think it's an actual illness. I'm sure it is some type of an illness, but
It's a COVID
yeah,
virus,
probably.
one of those COVIDs.
Nothing important.
Not the COVID. It's just
Yeah.
a cold.
Oh, COVID. Yeah, that's right. There's a difference. And anyway, so yeah, I feel 100% better today than I did yesterday.
But not 100%.
But not 100%. That's right. Yeah. I was about 200% down. So, anyways, but yeah, how about you? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
Saw y'all's fancy party pictures.
We had a fancy night Saturday night at the country club. Fancy suit and
Yeah.
dress.
Did you sip bourbon with your pinky out?
Yeah. They had bourbon. They had wine. They had food. It was a party. We raised some money for the web school at Bell Buckle.
Oh, Webb.
Yeah.
Webb. Yeah.
Go Feet. The best mascot in all of sports, by the way. The web school mascot is amazing. It's just literally a big foot, and their name is the feet.
Web feet.
So web feet is their thing.
I did not know that.
It's amazing. I'll have to show you some pictures that I got of their mascot at a football game. It's great. It's the best mascot in all of sports. I swear it is.
I mean, we could actually end this podcast now. I was unaware that they were the Webb.
Trent, can you pull something up and show it on the
Yeah,
screen?
let me see if I
See if you
can
can find something.
Feet.
Yeah, that's,
Why?
There's got to be a story. I don't know it.
Are they at least like the golden feet? or
No,
the red
it's just
feet, or-
just a shoe. Like you can get like I've got a t-shirt hoodie and it on the label or whatever, the pocket. Look, see, I got my cami right here.
Yeah.
It's just a big shoe. Just a big high top shoe with like a busted up sole on the toe.
the
It's
toes
great.
are coming out. It's something.
Okay. This is
Oh, I got
fascinating.
you. I
I
got
was
you.
unaware.
You got
here
it?
we go.
All right.
Here we go. The web feet. But not webbed.
No. It's not a webbed foot. This isn't Aqua, that Kevin Costner movie.
Waterworld.
Waterworld, yeah.
Waterworld.
That's the mascot. That's an old one though. That's not the new one.
Oh, sorry.
I don't think that's the new one.
It's got an athletic sock even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those toes need to be brushed. They look like rotten teeth.
They do. That's
It's questionable at best.
I think they got a new mascot, but man, I could sit here and scroll through my phone.
Well,
This
you
is
know what?
not the
This is-
content
this is
people
not
tune
it.
in for.
We totally derailed this altogether.
Already.
So does the web foot have feet? Look, it has feet under the foot.
Yeah, that's there's a little redundancy, but that's okay.
That's fascinating. Okay, well, let's move on.
Yeah.
So anyway, real estate's interesting right now. We've got a little bump in activity.
Yeah.
It's amazing how weather fickle people can be, and we're definitely seeing that. Some warmer weather's got folks out looking at houses.
Is it that?
I think that's
You
part
think
of
that's
it.
part of it? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I tell people that the spring selling season starts whenever it gets warm and people think it's going to stay warm.
Yeah.
So that in Tennessee could be in February. It could be in.
There's some psychology at play there because I don't know who thinks it's going to stay warm. I think everybody thinks we're in a false spring right now.
No, I don't think anybody thinks it's going to stay warm, but I think that there's a little bit.
It's warm
of,
enough that people can get out and
No, I mean it could be in February, but it could be in May.
Yeah.
when we think it's going to stay warm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of course, you know what I mean. You've been here. But anyway, so, I've seen some more activity lately than I have in quite some time. I know you were talking about the same thing. So what's your take on all that?
Well, I think there could also be like a honeymoon, an inauguration honeymoon at play. And we can, I think we're going to get into that a little bit later. So that's a tease for you to stick around and watch the rest of our time together, because I think that might have a little something to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, let's get into it. Let's hit some headlines. Trent.
It's both.
Head movers, market lines.
Market
lines, head movers. Yep. Oh boy. What we got?
Market lines and head movers. We combine the two, right? Headlines, market movers. All right. So Jonathan is working on selling a house right now, and he showed these clients a bunch of houses, and they liked a home that a builder, a national tract builder, brought to the market, and so they were entertaining their builder incentives, and one of those was if they use the builder's preferred lender, they got quite a deal, and so we wanted
a much lower than market rate.
We wanted to talk about that a little bit, because that is I think a market mover.
Yeah, I think it is too. They got a lower than market rate, and then they also were able to get some closing cost, like cash incentive. And we won't go into all the numbers on that, but just know that it was a substantially lower market.
Oh, I know.
I know you do. A substantially lower than market interest rate. And when Bryan ran the numbers, it just wasn't really even feasible for him to necessarily compete. And he taught me about something that I didn't even know was a thing, which is where they explain what that is.
Yeah, it's called a forward commitment. And what happens is if you're a builder and you're trying to move your inventory and you're worried that rates may be going up, you can position yourself by buying a big block of money. And when I say you buy a block of money, you pay like discount points behind the scenes. And so like you're going to say, however much you're going to get, millions of dollars. And then you're going to
$100 million.
And then you have to get it lent out within a certain time frame, or you can end up losing a lot of money. So you have a certain period of time where you've got to lend out, because it's just like anything. When you lock a pool of money, there's expiration dates on those locks, and you've got to get that money lent out before that expiration date kicks in. And so what they'll do is they'll say, well, behind the scenes, we're not going to say that we're going to offer 2% towards a rate buy down, but behind the scenes, we're going to just go ahead and buy that rate down pretty significantly. And then if the market works the way that we think it's going to work and rates go up, we're going to have a bunch of money at a much lower than market rate.
Yeah. So a normal lender can lend at this rate. Our money is going to be sitting here at this rate.
It's already locked.
And it's already locked in.
It's committed.
And we've bought that pool of money. Now, what's interesting about that, on the surface, that sounds awesome, right?
Right.
As a buyer, you come in, and as long as you buy one of their houses, you're able to use that money. And of course, there's other incentives that they throw out there that are exclusive to you using their lender.
Right.
And sometimes they'll give those to you using another lender, and sometimes they won't. But it's really an interesting power play within the market, because there's ripple effects off of this. Number one, they're spending that money to have that pool of money.
And you need to understand, I think, as a buyer, why they're doing that.
Yes.
What is the goal? Is their goal to give you a great rate? No, they don't care what your rate is.
Not at all.
They don't care what
their
your
goal
payment
is to sell that house.
Yes.
But there's ripple goals, right?
Yeah.
So let's just make up a number, and let's say that rate is 5%. Okay, it's not, but let's just say that it is. It's 5%. We lock you in at a 5% rate. Okay, so most people right now, if they're buying a house, they're in their mind, whether they say it out loud or not, they're saying, hey, we're buying this house at 7% or whatever, and at some point in time, my goal is to refinance this.
Right.
Okay. And everybody knows that.
Everybody wants to refi when the market's right too.
That's right. And even the people that issue the money to the mortgage lenders know that the likelihood of that mortgage hitting 30 years is non-existent.
Right.
Right.
The house will be sold. They'll refinance it.
Absolutely.
Something will happen. They'll pay it off early.
or something.
Yeah.
They will never hit full.
Right. There's very few loans that go full term. 30
Right,
years.
exactly. So but if the market is 7 and this other subsidized rate basically is 5, it might, because in order for somebody to have to refinance that, they either will have to pull cash out, like that's their motivation, or that rate's going to have to drop way below. You might have to hit 4.5% or 5% or 4% before somebody's motivated. Well, by that point, the person that's at 7, they're going to do a refi boom maybe at 6%.
Right. They might refi at 6. They might refi again at 5.
5.5, whatever. Right. So they know that they're going to keep that person locked in. So it helps whoever they got that pool of money from, knowing that the chances are those loans are going to stick around longer, because they're going to be somewhat shielded from the inevitable refi boom that's going to happen at some point.
That's right.
So that's one thing. The other thing is this. We have a whole lot of people that are potential sellers right now that will not sell their house because their rate is so good that if they were to buy a place, their payments would go through the roof because of a rate difference.
We got this lock-in effect from the low rates that we had from 2020 to 2022.
And so if I can regenerate that in a new construction neighborhood where I essentially lock someone in with a lower rate, then my neighborhood stabilizes faster.
Yeah.
Right? I don't have a high turnover neighborhood because those people are literally locked into that because of their rate.
Now, there's a caveat to that. It could be that there's going to be more and more people, I think, who say, hey, I've got a lower rate that I can get in the market. I will never get an investment property at a rate this low. So maybe I'll leave this house, go buy another one, and convert this to a rental.
And that's entirely possible as well. So it's very interesting, and it's going to be really interesting to see what this looks like 10 years from now.
Yes.
When we've gone through all the rate dynamics that are inevitably going to happen.
Well, and I think if you look, and when you say 10 years from now, how do these tract-built neighborhoods age?
Yeah.
They typically don't age very well. So it'll be interesting to see what these homes look like in 10 years too. And you go to these neighborhoods, it's going to look kind of like a Lake Forest development where things are just not looking great and they're not fresh.
Yeah, and the other thing to be aware of sometimes, and not every time, I think in the case for my folks, it's a pretty well-built home.
Good.
I think they're doing a good job in this neighborhood. But it is also possible that if somebody is kind of taking a loss on like a loss leader type situation on a mortgage rate like this, they're still got to remain profitable. So they're making that money up somewhere.
They're cutting some corners on something. So and I think you said that that mortgage becomes a loss leader. And what needs to be transparent here is that the same parent company owns the builder that owns the loan company. So you're doing business,
and they own the title company, by the way.
Yeah, and so you're doing business with a company that kind of has that segment of the market cornered. And I think what's the long-term play too is that, hey, not only do they know that they're going to keep that loan on the books for a long time, they know they're going to keep their competition from being able to pick up a refinance down the road. So there will be, the next refi boom might be a little bit smaller the more of these forward commitment deals have been done, which makes it a little bit harder for more mortgage companies to stay in business, more loan officers to stay in the business. So you will see, I think there's a long-term strategy here that I don't know if it's just conspiracy theory in my brain or if it's actually kind of their long-term game plan. But do they ever want to, like, for example, D.R. Horton is DHI Mortgage. So does DHI eventually, is the long-term goal for it to sprout wings and become a legitimate mortgage company? Or do they really only want to continue to be a loss leader for their home building aspect of the company? Right now,
to be determined.
Right now, D.R. Horton just wants to sell houses. And so they're willing to take a loss on the mortgage company side of their balance sheet in order to make their homes more attractive to home buyers. And so if they're not competing on the quality of the style of the construction, if they're not competing on other things that you typically might consider when you're making a real estate purchase, they're really just competing on the fact that they can offer you an interest rate if you're beholden to their umbrella of companies that you can't get elsewhere in the market.
Yeah. And I will tell you from all kinds of other industries, if you are the low price leader in your industry, you can always get beat.
Yeah.
And there will always be somebody that's willing to take a smaller piece of the pie.
Yeah.
So if that is their long-term strategy, then the only logical conclusion is, or only logical outcome that's favorable for them,
Yeah.
is to actually put other competitors out of business.
Yeah.
Like that has to be the overall goal. Because like I said, anytime that your goal is to just be the low cost leader, someone will always outlow you.
Yeah. Yep.
So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Anyway, that being said, thank you for being willing to be transparent about how you got beat by something.
Yeah.
I didn't like it at all. And, it's just one of those things. What I did like about it, and this is what I love about you specifically, is that you tried, you looked at it, and you gave the advice. I can't beat that.
Yeah.
You need to stay in that deal.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, the client is making a decision on where they're going to live their life. And if that's the right home for them, and they can pick up terms like that, no, it's not me. It's not because the company I work for is out of market on rates. It's not because they couldn't get that anywhere else. And so if you like it, then put a ring on it. Go get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate your ability to analyze it and give honest, good advice.
Yeah.
So, all right. Anything else on this segment?
I think we're ready for This Is Real.
This is real. Can't wait to see what we got here.
All right. So that's not the real room. That's just like,
Were they running through the house and taking the picture?
that's just an exposure situation. Inception.
It's almost like they sent a robot in and it just buzzed through real quick and snapped pictures.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where you walk through with the camera and you do like a virtual tour, but they just try to take stills out of the virtual tour.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, bless their hearts. Now it does say rent links on there, so are we safe to assume that this is maybe for a rental unit?
That's safe. Safe to assume.
Yeah,
I mean, there's not a lot to say.
there's not. It's just bad. Listen, here's what I'll say about this: is if you ever have a listing agent and this is what they put on the MLS for you, after you fire them, call me.
So that's a good point. Most of these This Is Real segments are always been like, I cannot believe somebody decorated the room that way. I cannot believe that there's a house.
This is on the agent.
This is completely an agent that thought this was okay to slap up on the MLS.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, that's terrible.
All right, moving on. Shiny Penny. And we got special guests.
Do we have a special guest?
We have a special guest for our Shiny Penny today.
We do?
Come on
Is
down.
he here?
Oh my gosh.
What?
In person? The real guy?
Everybody's favorite
Everybody's best friend?
best friend. Let's go.
Mr. Grady Payne? Hello, sir.
Sir,
There you go. Kind of hard to reach.
shake to the knuckles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shiny Penny.
Like your name tag. Wait, we're doing the music right now, right?
Oh, I'll do it.
Republic Bank one at home. I had to find the next best thing.
Yeah. All right, are we ready?
Yep.
All right. So, Mr. Grady Payne wears lots of hats and sometimes none. Like today, no hat. I probably should wear a hat more often. But anyway, just joined Republic Bank.
Republic Bank, yes.
You been there a month yet?
1 month.
1 month. But also a diplomat, right?
Going on my 4th year.
Yeah. You guys both diplomats.
Yep, we're diplomat together.
I don't commit the time for that. So good for you guys.
We have fun doing it, man.
Yeah.
We have a good time doing it.
I know you do.
That's been a life changer organization for me. I said that many a times. Just the friendships that you've made is incredible. A lot of those same friendships I've met at your place at Cedar Glade. Did you want to talk about that? Because I think I had said community.
Well, this is the not really about that. That's something we'll do in a little bit. I'll get you doing. We're gonna Cedar Glade's putting a reel out, but this is just about like this week in real estate. We talk about things in the community, and we have a segment on the show called Shiny Penny. So we thought we'd put you on the spot and get you to give us maybe a minute or two on something that's happening in the community or something that you've seen in the real estate market, whether that's commercial or residential, that you were like, I didn't know that, or like
Something
neat.
good, like
Something
finding a shiny penny on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Well, I would think good luck.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I found out on the sidewalk.
Right.
I'm probably not too much on the real estate side, but the community side, I can probably throw in a thing or two.
Let's do it. Let's hear it.
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I have found community, and humans have found community in all kind of things throughout history, right? We can talk about a coffee shop. We can talk about a men's group. Having a cold one with friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always been, and I want to say,
Barack Obama even used it. You remember that? The beer summit that he did? You guys remember?
Tell us the story for those who don't remember.
Yeah, so it was it a police officer and somebody else, and there was a whole thing, and he said, well, we should talk this out over a cold beer. Do you guys remember this?
I don't.
Y'all don't remember?
I don't remember this.
Oh my gosh! All right, I'm gonna look it up because I need the whole story. But he had him to the White House, and they the three of them shared a cold beer together.
One beer, like 3 straws?
No, that's weird. Come on, man.
good, Brian.
That's really weird.
Hold on a second.
But you and I have talked about this before, maybe me and Brian. Remember the conversation you and I have had? I've had more relationships outside of like the diplomat or whatever, but just gathering place relationships out of Cedar Glade than anywhere else in town.
That's
Let's
cool.
go.
Yeah.
I probably pulled a handful of loans
Yeah.
out of Cedar Glade to people that I've met there. So there's something about that sense of community there and just gathering places.
That's awesome. This is not a paid endorsement. We put Grady on the spot. I sent him
It
a
could
text
be
message
anywhere.
about 30 minutes ago and said, come on and give us a shiny penny. So, like,
That's my
thank
shiny
you.
penny
Thank
is
you.
gathering places where, you meet people at, say, big chamber events.
Yeah.
Well, those are noisy and busy. And I've always given a business card out, especially if somebody I don't know. Well, hey, let's go the next day and grab a coffee. Or we can go have a cold beer at Cedar Glade and just
Yeah.
connect a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
I've done that for 4 or 5 years. And that's outside of a diplomat program, have built a strong base of friends.
That's really cool.
I'm talking friends, not acquaintances, friends.
Yeah.
Somebody say, let's go somewhere. That type of stuff. Let's go to MTSU football game. Right? That's community.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of my take on it. I assume you found the story.
I did. Yeah. It actually didn't go all that well, believe it or not. But yeah,
twist.
so 2009, a Harvard professor, a black guy, Harvard professor, was arrested by a white officer. This was, of course, during a time when there was a lot of racially charged rhetoric and whatnot. And the president was asked his opinion, and he said that the Cambridge, Massachusetts Police Department had acted stupidly, blah, 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 going on. He said what everybody needed, the president offered, was a nice cold beer. So the officer and the professor and the president sat down to a beer. They included Joe Biden. I'm sure that made it weird. And they sat down for a cold beer and tried to have a meeting of the minds to work through their issues. The article I was just reading said that it went badly because the president invited the press, and so it looked more like a publicity stunt than an actual.
Yeah. It would have been better to not have the press in the room and let them just sit around and talk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I can't believe y'all didn't remember the whole beer summit thing.
There was a lot going on, I guess. I mean,
Well, it's 2009.
Yeah.
I thought it was way more recent than that, but I guess
no, I mean,
President
wow.
Obama's been out for a long time.
My
huh?
son wasn't alive.
What?
Dang.
That's kind of crazy.
I mean, you're going back
Yeah.
14 years. What
15
happened
years.
last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
14 years.
Yeah.
And over something that went badly at the end of it.
Jonathan, you and your memory, man. I bet you couldn't tell me what you had for lunch 2 days ago, but
I can't tell you. I didn't have breakfast this morning. That's why I can't tell you. I had breakfast this morning. Coffee.
well, good. Thanks for coming on and doing a shiny penny with us, Grady.
Throw one more thing out
Yeah.
there. I really enjoyed that songwriters event. There's some solid people, and you and I've talked about this. Y'all know I kind of connect venues and musicians up around town, wherever.
Yeah.
And I've done some for you in the past, and still will continue to do so. There are some very unheralded, talented people in this town,
Yeah.
right here. You ain't got to go to Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You just got to know where to look.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree
I've
with
been
that.
blown away. I've had some of them in my living room
Yeah.
playing guitar with me
Yeah.
in my living room going, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You got some major talent. So
Well, I was reading that article while you were talking about the community that CGB has formed, and first of all, I appreciate you saying that, and I really appreciate you being part of it. And that's something that we have, as a partnership, have talked a lot about over the last 6 months, even about how that community aspect of it has evolved to where we serve the community, but then we also have our community.
sure you do.
And it's a very inclusive, very welcoming community, and it's really blossomed, and it's pretty cool. So anyway,
Glad to be a part of it.
speaking of community, what are some cool things coming up, Trent? You got anything?
Where's Missy? Missy,
Missy?
what's all the community stuff?
Friday's Comedy for a Cause for Kiwanis.
Comedy for a Cause with Kiwanis coming up this Friday.
This
Tickets
Friday.
still available.
February 20th is Smoking Barrel for Kamari.
Kamari House, yeah.
February 20th is Kamari House Smoking Barrel.
And I just bought my ticket for that one.
Nice. And what?
22nd is Borough Prom.
And then February 22nd, Borough Prom at the Walnut House.
Yeah, we got a couple as well. MTSU has what is it? The Blue Bloods in the round on February 13th out at Humble Baron. So that's a songwriter event. There's like 5 or 6 songwriters. They're going to be performing that have written hits for all kinds of different country artists. And that is a fundraiser for Raiders Rising for the NIL Collective, which, man, if you're a sports person at all, you need to be following what's going on with NIL right now. It's
Crazy.
It's
crazy.
So the three of
West.
us are on the Blue Raider Athletic Association board. We sat in a meeting yesterday, and there's a hearing coming up in a couple of months that could really change everything.
Was that in April?
That's in April, and it would go into effect, I think, July 1st. And if this judge, the way I gathered it, it sounds like a judge is making the decision. This isn't a jury. This isn't a panel at Congress. There's going to be a hearing, and if the settlement that's being presented is approved by this judge, athletes will be able to be paid by the university.
But yet not be employees.
But they're not employees.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of stuff that's going to have
here's-
to continue to get sorted out. But
Also, I was going to say, I think that's the big thing is this will be the first step towards a very long slog through whatever this landscape, because every decision that's made, you think about this, you're unraveling decades and decades and decades worth of the way it's always been.
Yeah.
And so as you unravel that, there's going to be inadvertent repercussions. This happened. Oh, well, that means that this. Oh, well, we can't have that. So like that whole conversation, the last question that I remember being asked was, well, what about Title IX? Because it has Title IX implications.
sure.
And the way that it's all being presented, there's no weight given to Title IX. And I'm like, well, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So, this can't be the final answer because it created this problem
Right.
with something that we'd already solved.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's
So-
going to be very interesting.
For the non-sports fans, or for the sports fans who don't know, like name, image, likeness is NIL, and that is what for the last 5-6 years or so, college athletes have been able to sign agreements with collectives or with individual companies to be compensated for their name, image, and likeness. It's why NCAA college football by EA Sports came back last year because
And has names on.
and has the players' names on the jerseys and everything. Name, image, likeness is okay now, whereas before it wasn't. And I think that's a good thing that NIL is there,
Overall,
is there. I think the athletes should be able to be compensated some. But the shift here now is that schools would have a budget, and every school would be able to spend up to the same amount of their own money to compensate athletes. And then anything in addition to that could be done through collectives. So collectives aren't going away.
Going through companies.
Collectives and individual sponsorships are not going to go away, but the school itself would be able to set a budget. And scholarship limits, it was going to be, but you remind me how they were talking about scholarship. There's no scholarship limits.
There's no quantity to the scholarship. like 10 scholarships or 20 scholarships or
That's
whatever.
up to
because of
discretion
Title,
school, right?
because Title IX, you step in if I'm misspeaking here, but Title IX dictated that there had to be the same number of female scholarships as male scholarships in any given school.
And now it's based on just dollar amounts.
So if a school had 85 football scholarships, they would give like 7.5 baseball or 13 scholarships for baseball. But then they would have to like even have an equal number for softball, women's soccer. That's why you have a lot of schools will have a women's soccer program, but no men's soccer program because they have so many football scholarships. They have to compensate for that.
Change now.
And that could completely turn everything on its head.
It's all turned upside
Yeah,
down.
it's going to be interesting. So that's an event that's coming up. Blue Raider fans should definitely try to attend that.
And I buy my tickets today on that one.
Yep, it's going to be a lot of fun. February 14th, we've got our Valentine's Day party here at the
gonna be
brewery.
cool.
It's going to be a blast. Everybody's favorite sweethearts, the Howlin' Embers, will be playing, and then you can bring your dog up, and which is truly, Cammy keeps walking around, truly your real Valentine.
Yeah.
We'll have a photographer here to do pet and human photographs, and then I don't know. There's some other stuff too. We got a toga party coming up next month, and St. Patrick's Day, and all kinds of fun stuff.
It's gonna be a good 6-week run.
Yep, for sure.
You
All
gonna
right.
Bring the Commonwealth back for the.
Yep, they will be here.
Nice.
All right.
I think
All
we
right.
did it, y'all.
We did it. That's it.
Good show.
Thank you for coming on, Grady.
Thanks for having me. I love you guys, man.
Love you too, bud. All right. Y'all have a good week.
Thank you for listening to another episode of This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, your go-to resource for all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Be sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. We will see y'all on the next one.
Now for the nitty-gritty. Primis Mortgage Company is a subsidiary of Primis Bank, a member FDIC. Primis Mortgage NMLS number 1894879, BK number 1042893, ML number 1894879. As always, all loans are subject to credit approval and product guidelines. Equal housing lender.